Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Science Talk. Today we bring you an interesting study done by Healy et al. Regarding how metabolic rate and body size relate to the ability to perceive temporal information. This will allow us to understand the difference of how other species move through time and the rate their bodies function.
To begin, we could probably give you some background to what metabolic rate and temporal perception is. Metabolic rate is the overall energy use of an organism. Larger organisms have higher metabolic rates overall than smaller organisms. Thus, the larger the body of an organism, the higher the overall metabolic rate.
One of the overlooked factors that plays a role in the organism's behavior in its environment is temporal perception. Temporal perception is the ability to notice change over a given time. For example, the ability to detect a flashing light is at increasing frequencies until the organism cannot distinguish each flash from the next. This will mean that the animal would only see a single constant beam of light. This difference can help in predator-prey relationships and survival instincts by controlling how fast the body and mind will perceive its surroundings and detect predators or food.
That is exactly what was done in the study that we bring to you today. Called critical flicker fusion frequency, or CFF for short, these scientists measured the lowest frequency of a flickering light that an organism perceived as constant and recorded what they found. This can relate to the pace that the animal operates based on the frequency that they can see.
How exactly would you measure the CFF of organisms besides humans who could verbally communicate what they see? The CFF values were obtained from electrophysiological techniques, and the data presented is from other literature that measured CFF using behavioral studies and ERG. Behavioral studies are where the subjects were trained to respond to a light flashing using food or some other incentive. The other way is ERG, or electroretinogram, which were procedures where the electrical response of the subject's retina was measured in response to the flashing light.
The scientists' hypothesis was the larger the organism's body mass, the lower the CFF would be. They came to the conclusion based on the trial of multiple animals of the sizes of comparing the results of predator-prey relationships. The chipmunk can detect environmental movements accurately, while the owl is only able to perceive the general form of the movements in the environment. This is referred to as the flicker fusion effect, which is the change in appearance of the prey in the eyes of the predators, helping to reduce the cause of detection. This effect also occurs when contrasting patterns blur at speeds, causing appearances of prey.
The results of the study indicated that small animals with high mass-specific metabolic rates possess the highest maximum CFF and hence greatest ability to perceive temporally dynamic visual information. Conversely, large animals with low mass-specific metabolic rates had the lowest CFF. From the collections of data, we can see that the scientists' hypotheses have been supported in this study.
Here's a table of some of the species that the scientists studied, along with their CFF values. As you can see, an animal like a squirrel has a low body mass and hence a high CFF value compared to a larger organism like a human.
Findings supported the relationship between physiology and the effects of the body mass on the ability to resolve temporal features of the environment on the fine timescales, hence the linking of sensory adaptations to fundamental constraints and the trade-offs imposed on all organisms. This may be because larger animals have no use for such high temporal reasoning if they cannot maneuver well. Smaller animals, who can maneuver very well, effectively use the ability to detect higher frequencies in temporal stimuli, thus showing us that there may be a relationship between temporal perception and the evolution of animals.
From an evolutionary perspective, many trade-offs exist between the demand for more information from temporal perception and cost of its acquisitions, according to S.B. Laughlin. Over time, as organisms have evolved to the life they have now, many trade-offs have occurred along the way, like the development of a metabolically costly brain. Though metabolically costly, it is proven to be worth it for the function that a brain provides to an organism. Similarly, high temporal perception may be worth it for some organisms and not so much to others. As these relationships have developed, they may relate to the size and metabolic rate of the organism.
Furthermore, temporal perception is important to animals because it allows them to see and react to stimulus from the environment that may come from predators or other possible dangers. This is important for hunted animals that utilize temporal perception to survive daily. The results of this fine balance of energy, cost, and necessity are shown in the conclusion of this study. We're providing not only more evidence for evolution, but also new light into a topic that not many have researched before.
In conclusion, this is an interesting study because it points to the broader evolutionary implications. Temporal perception is a costly investment, more for smaller animals, and it affects the organism's ability to maneuver, relating to its body size and metabolic rate, which indicates whether or not this investment is necessary. For the larger animals and less active, temporal perception is not as important because it would waste resources on something that it does not need. For smaller animals and more active animals, it is very important for fitness to survive.
Thank you all for listening. I hope you learned something from what we have shared. Have a great day.